Hey guys! So today I'm going to talk about college applications, which is a very apt subject for me because I'm getting ready to move into my college, Washington and Lee, this Sunday. I'm going a week early because I'm doing a pre-orientation trip, but almost all my friends, the ones that aren't going to Ivy Leagues, have already started. The only people that are in town right now are two of my friends that are going to Ivy Leagues. One's going to Princeton, one's going to Brown, and then the people that are going to Furman, because they don't start until the 24th or 25th. So that's who's in town that hasn't already started classes, but all my friends that went to Clemson and USC and COC and things like that, they've already started, which is kind of weird because I'm all alone. I had to take my brother to school today and it was kind of sad. But I did get a request to do this video, so I'm honoring that request. First step to applying to colleges is deciding what colleges you want to apply to. And the fact of the matter is you need to actually look at your chances objectively, and then from there group your three main areas of colleges. So you're going to have your safety schools, you're going to have your middle tier, which is the schools you think you're going to get into, but you might have to, work a little harder, make sure you do extra well in your essays and keep up your grades. And then the top tier is your reach schools. The way you're going to group these is you're going to get your transcript, you're going to look at your class rank, divide what number you are by the number of people in your class, and that's what percent you are, and that's going to help you a lot. Then look at your GPA, both weighted and unweighted. Look at the classes you're taking. Are you taking just honors classes? Have you tried AP and IB classes? Are you taking CP classes? Look at that, and then address your SAT and ACT scores. And realize that as much as colleges tell you that the essays and extracurriculars count a lot, the primary thing they're looking at is your GPA and SATs, which is honestly a bummer. I hated that, but my college experience, the number one thing it taught me is that the scores do matter. Yes, they want a holistic person, but they want a holistic person after they look at the grades. I had a lot of trouble with college applications just because I didn't, freshman year I was playing too many sports to focus well, and then sophomore year I had something happen with one of my classes that kind of screwed up my GPA rank. Which was kind of a bummer, and then I never really fully recovered because everyone else was so much more ahead of me by the time I got it together. So, not that I really needed to get it together, I made like 4 B's, but still it was enough to kind of wreck it for me. But realize that as much as colleges tell you that they look at everything, their primary focus is GPA and SAT and ACT scores. The schools that don't look at SAT and ACT scores, I applied to one, but I submitted my SAT and ACT scores because I applied to Furman. And it didn't, I think they still look at GPA a lot because that's what gets them their ranks with stuff on US News and World Reports. Like, those numbers are really important, and as much as you don't want to believe it, they really are. So basically, for the first rule of college applications is you're going to want to look at them realistically. What colleges can you get into? So once you have determined what colleges you can get into, you're going to actually move to the step of applying to colleges. Common App is really great because it streamlines the entire college application process, and then the supplements themselves are individual. But one of the things I found really helpful with the supplements was to answer supplemental questions that were similar to each other so that I wasn't writing a whole new essay for every single college, because most colleges make you add a supplemental essay. And then I also applied to 2 colleges that didn't use the Common App, and so I found that some of the essays I'd written for supplements on the Common Apps were able to kind of translate across, or could be tweaked well enough that I could do it. So make sure you look over the apps. Really important are your letters of recommendation. Be realistic when you go to ask for your recommendations, because as much as you might like a teacher as a person, you need to also address your academic performance. Because if you just goof around in the class all the time and you don't ever actually try, then the teacher might be like, this is a great amicable person, I would highly recommend them from a social aspect, but from an academic standpoint they might not be the most studious person, which is obviously not what you want. But at the same time, you don't want to ask a teacher that you did well in their class but they don't like you on a personal level. So make sure you're choosing the correct person, and make sure you give them time, because I can't remember, Mr. Brookie, okay. My APUSH, which is AP US History teacher, he is who I wanted to write my college recommendations, to get a college recommendation from for Common App, and I ended up having to ask my IB History of the Americas teacher, and she only had like 3 days to get it in because my AP US History teacher got sick with the flu and couldn't do it. So make sure you have a backup recommendation person, or get them in ahead of time. Like, don't let them wait and wait and wait. And that brings me to my third point about college apps, which is do them now. I had all my apps done by Thanksgiving. I know at the Governor's School for Science and Mathematics, which is in Hartsville, South Carolina, they have their own internal set of deadlines, and I'm sure a lot of schools do that, but if your school doesn't set internal deadlines for all college applications, make sure you set them for yourself. Trust me, it was so relaxing over Christmas break knowing that I was done with my college applications while all my friends were scrambling to get them done, because a lot of them are due like the first week of January. So please make sure that you do your college applications in a timely manner. Set a deadline for yourself and get it done by then. Have everything done, because that way you're fully prepared. With the apps thing, be careful with what you write about on essays, because I'm sure you can look up tons of videos of this, and I'm not an admissions officer. This is just my personal experience as a college student. But when I went to a lot of college academic meetings, a lot of them talking about the same thing in essays. So bring a new perspective. If you're going to talk about your missions trip, bring something new to the table, not just like, my life has changed because I hung out with poor people. Lots of people have that, so make sure it's something unique to you. I really liked my college essays, and I think it's important that you really like them. Get an English teacher that you trust to read it and have them examine your voice and ask them from a teacher perspective if the voice sounds real, and then also if it sounds like you as a student, because get someone that you've had a year or two, or someone that you really liked, that you did really good writing for, because that way they'll really be able to examine it. I did that with my English teacher. I actually had 2 different English teachers read them, and that way I got really good essays because they had a good voice and were written well. Because while I don't think that essay is the main part of the acceptance process, a good essay can really set you apart from the pack. And then also, I just like reading the college essays because I think they're fun. What do you do once you get all your applications in? This is the waiting process, and the waiting process can be awful. So college acceptances don't come at the same time, and it can make you really antsy, but really don't compare yourself to other people, because you aren't other people. And the only thing that it makes you so mad when someone that you don't think deserves to get in gets in, and it is really frustrating and it makes you angry. For the school I got waitlisted to, I was on a college blog, and I was looking at this person who posted that she got into the school, and she said what her GPA, SAT, and extracurriculars were, and I was furious. I was like, are you serious? My GPA is better than that. My SAT is better than that. My subject tests were better than hers. I did more extracurriculars than hers. Like, how did I get waitlisted and she got in? It made me so angry. But you have to remember that you don't know what they're looking for that year. There may be 100 other, there could have been 1,000 other applicants that were just like you. Maybe they had 0.1 of a GPA higher, and that's just the luck of the draw. So basically the summary of that story is, please don't compare yourself to other people, because it will really just drive you crazy and make you hate the entire admissions process. Literally the admissions process was the worst time of my life, and I don't think I would ever want to go through it again. And I definitely feel like Washington and Lee is where I needed to go. It was my #1 choice, so I'm super stoked to go. But there were definitely times when I was like, I hate this entire process. I'm gonna go to some crap school that I don't want to go to, and I'm gonna hate my life, and it's gonna be ruined forever. That's not true. If you don't end up at the school you like, you can always transfer. So don't worry about that. But a word to the wise about waitlisting. I personally felt like waitlisting was terrible. I was like, this is like someone saying you are almost good enough but not quite, which can be worse than flat out rejection. But if you really want to go to a school, no matter how painful it is for you to try, and trust me, I know how painful it is. Like, I wanted to yell at everyone anytime they brought up college, and my mom especially, she was like, you need to write a letter, you need to send this in, and it was really painful, and now I'm glad I did it. But if you get waitlisted, don't give up hope. There's always going to be people who decline to go to that college, and there'll always be spots that come up. So just keep trying. Send a letter 2 weeks later once you've cooled off. Send a letter expressing your interest, why you're specifically interested in the school. You can tweak an essay that you liked for a different college and send it in as an additional supplement to your thing. Call the college and ask if anything was missing from your application. And when I called one of the schools I got waitlisted to, I found out that my transcript, my midterm grade report, didn't actually include my midterm grades. So I called and found that out. You could also do an interview. Oh yeah, interviews. We should talk about that. Interviews. A lot of colleges offer interviews on campus. If you can't go to the campus, then they always have alumni that you can go interview with. The colleges say that interviews don't help any. I just personally feel that it shows more interest in the college if you're willing to take additional time out of your day to go talk with someone, and you also can have a really can help found your experience at the school. Another important part of the college applications is, if you have the time and the physical ability, go tour the campus. it really makes or breaks a decision. I was not interested at all in Duke. My mom made me go. I went to interview at Wake Forest, and I was going to interview at Washington and Lee like the next day. So I ended up going to Duke in between Wake Forest and Washington and Lee, and I actually had a really, really great time. I was not interested in the campus at all before I took the tour, and then I actually ended up running into one of my friends that goes to Duke, and he took me to a parliamentary debate meeting, so I really got an inside look at the campus, which is really cool. And that's something else I suggest. If you know a friend that goes to your college and your parents are cool, mine weren't cool, so I didn't get to go to any overnight visits. My parents were not down with that. Plus, they weren't down with it junior year when I had time to do it, and then senior year I didn't have time to do any overnight visits. So if you have the time to do overnight visits and your parents are cool with you staying overnight with your friend with no parent supervision on the college campus, do an overnight tour, because everyone I talk to loves overnight tours because they give you an actual look at the campus. I mean, campus tours are really great for learning more facts about your campus, but you don't get the whole feel for the campus. You get the parent-approved feel for the campus, which is what they advertise, but there's a lot of things that you don't know about a campus until you actually spend the night there or talk to some students. So that's one of those things that's really helpful if you can do. And if you can't do it, then that's okay, because I haven't done an overnight visit, and I'm sure I'm going to love college. We've already talked about dealing with waitlisting. We can talk about dealing with rejection too, because I did get rejected to colleges. Getting rejected from certain schools really just made me angry. And what you need to realize, the best piece of advice someone gave me, actually I'm going to look it up. So the best piece of advice that someone gave me about getting rejected and waitlisted to colleges was really, really mean, and I was really upset that he said, you know what, I'm going to tell you exactly what I wish someone had told me the day I got rejected. Get the F over it. Boo-hoo, you're sad. Oh well, there's nothing you can do. The past 4 years have been a waste of your life. That's BS. You're never going to be successful again. Grow up. Alexis, where you go to college does in no way determine who you are as a person or the direction your life will go in. Continues on about that because he had a similar experience where he got rejected to a college he really, really wanted to go to, and he ended up having to go in state. He had a really tough adjustment period, and while it was really mean and hard for me to read at first, it was honestly the best piece of advice someone gave me, because other people are going to try to baby you and tell you it's going to be okay. It sucks getting rejected from college. You feel like everything you've done for the past 4 years has just been a waste of time, and like you think about all you could have done, and like you could have slept in and never studied and you would have gotten the exact same result, because that's how I felt, and it was awful. But James is right. You've learned so much more from rejection, and the sad part of life is college rejections are just the first step of rejections. Things are going to happen, and this is just the first step. So really just put it in perspective, because you're probably like 90% chance that you're going to end up at a school that is just right for you. And you know what? If you hate it, you can always transfer next year. In summation, be realistic about your college expectations. Get your apps done early. Make sure your college recommendations are in order. Just work hard on your essays and make sure they represent you. Realize that rejection is a part of the process. Don't give up if you're waitlisted. And realize there's always other options. I want to wish luck to all the seniors that are applying to college this year. It's a really stressful process, but it's just a part of life. And it's not going to be the deciding factor for the rest of your life. I mean, it can be a huge stepping stone, but it's not going to be the end-all, be-all. So have fun and good luck with your college admissions, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.